get to it. DJ E-Rock in the building. It is the Full Convo Radio Basement. You might be listening to us in L.A. Where else are we? The Bay, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to our new family out there at Power 98.3 where hip-hop lives. Shout out my man Jay Steele. Man, it's been a minute since I've actually recorded an episode. This is actually the kickoff of Season 2 of the Full Convo, brought to you by the good people at Culture Kings. And I got a very special guest in the building. His name is Amadeus.
Yes, sir.
Is it Amadeus? Just
you got it.
That's it. Not Amadeus, the drummer, not the producer, or
man. I wear so many hats.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I'm here, man. We here, my brother. First of all, salute to you,
my man.
Congrats to all of the great things you are doing. You have done. Maximum respect to you, my brother. I'm honored to be here, humble and grateful for this opportunity to sit with you and build and kick it, man. So salute, congrats on everything, and thank you for having me, bro.
No. Thank you for carving out some time. I know that we had a little scheduling mishap last time, so good. To have this second opportunity to get this done, I appreciate that, man.
Thank you,
but
brother.
hey, we're not a far walk.
No,
we're not a far walk. We're right across the street from Dre's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, let's talk about what you do, because you said that you wear many hats.
Correct.
I mean, your bio says right here, CEO, producer, drummer, educator, motivational speaker.
Correct.
I mean, the list goes on. I mean, there's a whole bunch more. I mean, your discography is crazy. I can literally just keep on going, and it's still going. It's still going,
I'm blessed, man. It's a blessing.
I mean, you've seen a lot of cities, obviously.
Absolutely.
You've been on tour with Trey Songz.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about, what is it, would you say, is the brunt of what you do, though? That you find yourself doing on a daily basis.
Right.
I wake up in the morning and I know I'm going to do this.
Right. I mean, it all starts with the music. And that's what allowed me to be where I am today, to accomplish what I've accomplished, to have all of these different hats that I wear. It all started with the music. So musician first, music producer first, right? And that kind of opened up all of the other doors for what I do. Touring musician, music director, author, motivational speaker, right? It's like people don't want to hear you talk if you don't have a story, if you don't have a journey, if you don't have something to say that's life-changing in regards to me sharing how I got to where I'm at today. So it starts with the music, and I'm grateful that music and production and the touring aspect of things have opened up so many other, lanes for me to walk down, and I'm just appreciating it all. And, music is why I'm here. Being a Dre's resident as a musician, as a drummer, is legendary.
For 7 years now.
7 years, man.
7 years.
Going
on.
Hey, very long time, especially as a drummer. Know this. You're heavyweight out here in Vegas and everywhere in the world. And residencies as artists, DJs, comedians, legends. So when you think about a musician and a drummer being a resident, is a legendary thing, man. So big shout out to the entire Dre's team, Victor, Dustin, BA. That allow for this allow for this to come together, and it's crazy, man. Like when the idea first came to me, and shout out to George, he was managing Trey at the time. He's like, yo, they want to give you a residency. I'm like, what is that?
My guy, man.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time in the gym, man.
Yes,
every time I hit him,
incredible.
I'm like, yo,
shout
what are you
out
doing?
to George.
Yo, I'm
shout
in the gym right now. Let me call you right back.
Yeah, he's life-changing. Life-changing. He motivates us each and every single day. I'm in the gym right now. When I see him, I'm like, okay, I gotta do something. So so to have a residency out here as a drummer is legendary. I'm grateful, to be here, and this is why we're here. It starts with the music, So like I said, the music has opened up so many different doors, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. So, how did the idea of having a resident drummer, come about? Because not a lot of clubs, do a drummer residency.
Right.
But how did this idea get pitched to you? In Vegas, I would say that Dre's is probably the only club that has a resident drummer.
Absolutely.
Now, you play along with the DJ, correct?
Yes, shout out to DJ Franson, my brother for life.
That's my bro.
That's who I rock with the most. I know he's on the move this weekend, so this weekend is I've been rocking with Just Incredible.
Creddy.
You know what I mean? And we've been shutting it down. So I, play with various DJs. Shout out to DJ Booth. Shout out to DJ Black. So the DJs change. Maria Morano, Cyber Kid. So it changes, and I just vibe with each and every single DJ. But what happened was, shout out to my brother, Trey Songz. This wouldn't even be possible if it wasn't for him, because he has a residency here first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was us, the Trey Songz experience coming performing at the club. So one random night, the band gets there early, and my drums is up there, and a gentleman comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you hop on the drums for a little bit and play alongside the DJ?" And for me, I was just like, "Well, that's different. Never really done that before.
It's very different.
Very different." In my mind, I'm like, "Well, I got an hour set to do a Trey, so I don't want to jump up here and give off too much energy, and then when it's time to rock out with Trey, I ain't really got the right energy." So I'm thinking from those lenses, but I'm like, what's the worst, So we get up there and rock out. So I was up there for about 15 minutes. DJ Franzen was on, rocked out for a little bit, did the show with Trey, shut it down. George comes up to me after, and he was just like, "Bro, you're never going to believe this." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yo, they want to like have a meeting in regards to giving you a residency." And I'm like, "Well, what is that?" And he was like Trey, like basically you come out here every weekend and you play drums alongside the DJ. We're going to figure it out. That person that came up to me, had no idea who it was, that said, "Hey, why don't you get on the drums?" That was Victor Dre.
Wow.
And
legend.
and he said it to me. He's like, he said, "You know who that was?" I'm like,
"That's
like
wild,
Victor Dre."
right
And I'm
there.
like, in my mind, I'm like, his name sounds like the club. And he's like, "That's the owner, bro."
Oh, he is the club.
You feel me?
He's the club.
And that's how that came together. And I got to give a shout out to Constantine because Constantine was in motion at that time in regards to setting up the artists who performed and, aligning all of the residents to perform. So shout out to Constantine because Constantine was definitely a great support system for me. I was on every weekend.
No, I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Every
I would be in there,
weekend.
and I'm like, "Yo, this guy's here every week."
And it was a lot.
Every week.
It was a lot.
That flight is long for you. You're
Bro,
from the Bronx, right? You're
yes.
from New York.
Yeah, I flew
You
out
live
from
in New York.
Friday, play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly home on Mondays, right?
Wow.
So I have a
I
family.
know how that feels.
I have
So that's
family.
why I moved here.
You already know. And everybody was
I
always
couldn't do
asking
it
me,
no
like,
more.
"Why you waiting?" I'm like, "Bro, I got family there. I got kids. My whole entire village and community is in New York. So I just can't pick up and leave." But it was a lot, right? And I'm going to say this. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I don't want to forget the thought. I would complain, like, "Oh, God, here we go, man." Because I would only have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to do anything else I need to do. I'm still touring with Trey as his music director and drummer. I'm still producing. I'm still going to schools and speaking to kids and colleges, and I have a personal life. Like, what about things to do for myself, for my kids, for my family?
100%.
I had 3 days.
It all takes time.
So moving forward, the pandemic hits, and we're sitting home, and I'm sitting there,
Like, damn, I miss it.
and I'm like, a month goes by, and I'm cool. I'm happy. I'm in the house. We move around a lot, so it was a grateful moment at first.
At first.
Second month came, okay, cool. Third month hit, and I realized, I'm like, whoa. I haven't played drums in 3 months at all. Drums, studio, nothing musically in 3 months. And at that point, it started to get to me mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
And in that moment, as time went on, the longer I sat home, I sat there, and it was a moment for me, right? And I was just like, "God, if you just let me get back, I'll never complain again." And it put a lot into perspective for me. You know what I mean? Like, we moving, we doing what we doing. We're so blessed in so many different ways, and sometimes we take it for granted that we are who we are. And we doing what we're doing.
Facts. It was the same thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, DJs had Twitch.
Yeah. Yes.
We were able to express ourselves, by embracing Twitch and being on and playing music for an audience and engaging with the chat. Like, that was like our. That's how we got our fix.
Held us down big time.
But it wasn't the same as being in front of a big crowd and an audience and feeling that live energy.
Yes, sir.
It was not the same.
Yes, sir.
So, I feel it. Like, for a minute, I was like, man, I'm not mad at this. Like, I'm in the house. It's been a few months. Like, I've been going back and forth from L.A. to Vegas, the Bay to Vegas, across the country, to X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm not mad at this right now. And then, I remember I had a stream on Twitch where I was envisioning, what that comeback would look like. And that's when it finally hit me.
Yes, sir. Say.
That's when it hit me. And I got so emotional. And I was like, you know what? I get choked up thinking about it.
Yeah, me too.
None of us knew if we were going to go back to what we
felt the
what
same
we
way,
knew.
brother. I was like, I said, do we bounce back from this? Do we get back to doing what we love? Do we get back to being in those arenas, and because everything we do has to do with people, has to do with people being in the seats, has to do with people being in the clubs, people being in the venues. So when you remove that, it's just like, yo, will we ever return, right? So the moment everything opened back up, and I was scared, man. I'm not gonna lie. They'll tell you, you probably remember seeing me. I was in Dre's with my mask on for like a whole year and a half after.
Yeah,
I just
remember.
was afraid. You remember seeing me?
Because I was the same way.
I was
I was the
matching all
same
my
way.
outfits with it. Like, so if I had on all black, it was a black joint. If I had on red, I had a red mask on. Like, I was making it a part of my
You made
swag.
it work, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made it work.
Because that's the fear, that we had when it came to that. People were dying from that. You know what I mean? And you don't know what underlying health conditions you have or how it'll affect you. So the fact that we're here doing what we love, like I get on that plane with the biggest smile on my face, I don't care how much turbulence we hit. I'd be like, Lord, you got us? All right, cool. Bring the drinks in. And it is what it is. And I'm grateful for us to be able to do what we love and get back to doing what we love.
100%, man. I mean, yeah, like I said, I didn't know if I was going to go back to what I knew. It was just like yourself. It was every weekend. At the time I was at Light Nightclub over at Mandalay Bay.
Got you.
I was at Light, did some stuff at Dre's here and there and, some Tao Group stuff. But I just remember just getting so choked up on stream going like, yo, man, I can envision what that comeback looks like, but I have no idea if that's ever going to happen.
Right.
We were maybe 9 months in.
Wow.
9 months in, and I was like, yo, we thought this shit was going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks
I
in the
remember
house,
the
we
email that Dre sent. It's like, hey, this, Corona thing is here, the COVID, whatever they was calling it at the time. This was early 2021 maybe. And it was in February. And they was like, hey, we're going to shut down the club for about a month, see what's going on, figure this out, keep everybody posted. Bruh, a whole year went by. And I was just
more.
Like, yeah.
It's damn near a year and I wouldn't say a year and a half. It was a year and 2/3 of another year.
Yes.
And then we started to see some action.
Yes.
So crazy times, man.
So now, from a business lens, right? Now it's different. So now I'm not on every weekend, because it's I'm not going to get into the particulars of the business aspect of it, but I understand and I get it. I'm coming from New York. You got to fly me in, hotel, and so I'm not on as much as I was on back then, which is another thing to think about. All of those times I'm like, whoo, I wish. So now I'm doing once a week, once a month, sometimes two times out of the month. And I think back to, before pandemic hit, when I was out here every weekend, bro.
Every weekend.
I was choosing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yo, it's all you. You got something going on. You got to go somewhere with Trey. You got something personal going on. You let me know. It's like you let me know what you want and I was always mindful because I want other people to eat too.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So for those that are tuned in, it's like, count your blessings. Count your blessings. Never take, and it's easy to do because we're human, but try not to take it for granted where it is that you are in life, the blessings that you do have, the job you have, the fact that you're able to do what you love to do. No matter how tedious it gets, no matter how overwhelming it gets, how difficult it gets, sit back, remain prayerful, which is what I do, respectfully and hone in and have a moment. I always say it's cool. Call a timeout, man. Just don't throw in a towel. Just don't quit. You get a little tired. Call a timeout.
And a timeout is okay.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely fine. If you need to take a break, if you need to take a breather, if things are too crazy, take a break. It's good. It's fine.
I took a break from music, especially production, for at least a year and a half.
Wow.
Nothing. And people was like, yo, where you at? And I'm like, I just gotta. After the pandemic, after things opened back up, I was doing Dre's and on the road with Trey, but from a production standpoint, personally, and I'm just honest and transparent because you just never know who's tuned in that need to hear it, but I just wasn't okay. I mentally, physically, spiritually, financially was not okay. And it's
music is so personal.
Yeah.
I would like to say, for me, whenever I'm in the studio, I feel like I gotta be in the best shape mentally. I gotta feel good because it reflects in what you put out.
Absolutely. Now sometimes it works in your favor.
That's true.
Because
Pain.
there's been time, that I've created some really incredible music, in pain but from a mental standpoint, that's different. Being in pain, losing someone, being upset, all of those different emotions that can help you create great music. But when you're mentally struggling, like when you're like looking in the mirror and you're like, who are you, dude? Like, are you you? Are you you? Are you knock knock? Are you still in there? And that was the struggle. So I had to just back up a minute to make sure that I was okay. People know Amadeus, the musician, the producer, right? But what about, Antoine Jamel Thompson Sr.? That's really like
That's number one.
that's number one.
That's who you see in the mirror
Yeah.
every time you wake up in the morning.
Absolutely.
That's number one, first person.
Absolutely. So I'm
I get
grateful
it.
to be in the space that I am in, that I'm in today, and grateful to be here with you, my brother.
So let's talk about like some of the people that you've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
You've worked with, some of the biggest names that we could ever name. I mean, look, the list goes on, man. It's 50 Cent, Justin Bieber, Fabulous, T.I., Jeezy, Tyga, Keisha Cole, Wale, Busta Rhymes.
Crazy.
Chris Brown, Trey,
Crazy. Yeah,
on tour with Trey.
correct.
Like how does somebody get to that level? Like, how did this whole entire thing just happen? You know what I mean?
I've always been one of the hardest workers, ever. And before even getting to the work part of it, it was the belief.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little kid from the Bronx, from the projects, 1309 Washington Avenue, 169th Street, really tough neighborhood. The 9 is what they call my block because,
Yeah.
and that was the environment. So for me, it was church, and then the school that my parents was able to send us to, St. Augustine School of the Arts. You had to learn a musical instrument. For me, it was drums. Didn't know I would, had any love for it. I loved the music. I loved hip hop, but the musician side, I didn't know anything about that. And I was introduced into it and immediately fell in love with it. So that was the start. Again, I fell in love, and I'm like, what can I do, musically? Because I love basketball. I thought I was gonna go into the NBA. That didn't work. But me and drums, the connection with me and drums and production was just a thing. So at 14, 15 years old, I was all in. Yo, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. I'm in the studio. I'm in drums in church, figuring out instruments and figuring out the MPC 2000 and the Sonic and the Roland XP50.
I never figured out the MPC.
Yeah, bro.
I
No
never did.
manual. No manual. I don't like
That thing
no
is
manual.
man, it's a hard thing to figure out.
You know what? It's not as
For me, it was.
difficult as you think it is. I don't know. But I would sit there, and it's my passion.
Yeah.
So it's never a frustrating or oh, man, I just sat there and figured it out. So that was what it was. And my motivation was where I lived and my community and what I saw. And I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to be what I saw, and all love and respect to where I'm from because I love where I'm from and it created me and it made me who I am today. But there was a lot of negativity that surrounded that area, right? So I wanted to be and make something of myself, and it was music. So the hustle, the belief, the work ethic, that's all I did. I lost girlfriends, I lost friends, because, we going to the movies tonight? Nah, I'm going to be in the room making beats. Yo, we going bowling? Nah, it was either school, church, which I was playing drums at, or in the room, because before it was the studio, it was my bedroom.
So let me ask you this though, you said you've lost girlfriends and you picked instead of going to the movies, going to or being in the studio or in the room, figuring out the MPC, would you feel that, or would you be able to say that growing up when you made those sacrifices consciously that you felt that you were going to have the edge by doing so?
Absolutely. In my mind, I was going to go. How, I couldn't tell you. Who with, I couldn't tell you. But in my little brain, as a little kid, I'm like, yo, I didn't even have a name yet, so it wasn't even Amadeus. It was just like, yo, I'm definitely going somehow, some way. And
We're going. Yeah, we're there. We're good. We're going to get there.
Going.
Mentally, you're already there.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
And
it's important. That mindset's important.
Absolutely. And as a little kid, so when I go speak to little kids, and children in schools, I'm asking them, what is it you love? What's your passion? What do you want to do? Some know, some don't, right? And that's why, okay, you don't have to know what you want to be when you grow up or what you want to do right now, but what do you love? I know for a fact I love music. I love drums. I love production. I love hip-hop. So some way, somehow, I'm going to figure that out. What do you love, right? Once you figure out what you love, don't wait to do it. Don't wait till I'm 18, I'm 20, I'm 25 to start. It's no, bro. It's I picked up the drumsticks not professionally, but really going to do it in 4th grade. That was the school I was in.
But if you knew where you were going to go, so you did pick it up professionally.
Right. Correct.
In the 4th grade.
Correct.
Because you knew you were going to go.
Yeah.
So yo, if you knew you were gonna go there, like, hey,
it was just
this is what we do.
And the only reason why I stuck to it, you're gonna laugh, was because like when the drum teacher would get on the drums, play a pattern, go around the room to see who could play the pattern. Every pattern he played, I was able to play. And if you know anything about drums, coordination, everything is doing something different. And I didn't know that I had that as a little kid in the 4th grade. But when I was doing that, and all of the little girls in the class was hyped up because I was doing that, that was the motivation. I'm like, oh, y'all hyped up on me doing this right here? Oh, yeah, I'm definitely playing drums. So that was the original motivation. Like,
wow.
The girls in my class that was like, yo, you saw him playing drums? I'm like, heard you. And it started with that.
Smooth for that.
It started with that.
Yeah.
And then it turned into real love and passion. Then I really ended up loving it.
It's amazing. You know, for me, I would say, like, you know, like to be the DJ I was, what was my motivation? Yeah, I would say it was definitely the girls. Because I started DJing clubs at 16 years old.
Wow.
16 years old. True story, man. With Franzen.
Wow.
I used to intern for him, like, you know, while he was on the radio. I've known Franny since I was like 14 years old.
Amazing. I had
no
idea.
Wild, man.
Wow.
I won't say how old we are now.
Listen,
but just know that we pretty damn good at what we do. That's why we
here. That's incredible, bro.
But I would intern for him, literally answering his phones, like, you know, the request line, like, you know, running contests, everything. And then he would go to the club and he would be playing with another guy that was like one of my mentors. His name is Rick Lee.
Okay.
You know, he's been on the radio in the Bay for like 20-something odd years, man. This guy is a legend, man. So like I used to intern for Rick. I used to carry his crates and I used to answer Franzen's phones.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So they used to play together and I used to end up opening for both of them.
Dope.
Like they would double headline and I'd be like the opener, like nobody in there, this and that. But I remember like, there was just like this one girl. There was this one girl and she was like, there were no waitresses back then or anything, but she worked at the club. And I remember I would see her all the time. And like I would be the opener.
Wow.
So I would, it'd be quiet in there, like not a lot of people, like, so I have this conversation with her. So that was like my first, like,
that's dope.
Like sense of like motivation, like, like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is dope. She's dope. This and that. I love music. I love hip hop.
That's incredible, man.
This is what we doing. This is what
I
we're
love
doing.
it.
So like, you mentioned, how you speak to kids.
Yes.
And we also talked about like, in your bio says you're a motivational speaker.
Absolutely.
Like, what's the why behind that?
Got you. And I didn't take the title. The title kind of someone was like, yo, you like a motivational speaker? And I was like, all right, cool. So I just kind of added it. It looked nice and sounds pretty cool. So I added to the resume, I added to the bio. But I remember what it was like to be that little kid that had dreams and goals and aspirations that really seemed far-fetched, right? So that's the idea of just going into these schools and having the conversation and sharing my journey with them. Like, yo, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm from where you're from. Like, I'm from the hood, too. I'm from the bottom, too. No matter where you are from in the world, there's a hood there. Like,
Facts.
there's places that's challenged, that deals with different things. Minorities, is like, it is what it is, right? So how can I make impact on these kids? How can I go in there, show them who I am, show them what I'm doing, what I've done, give them the backstory with it all, in hopes of inspiring them to push and live their dreams too. So that was the vision. So I would be on the road with Trey and we'll be in the city and I'm like, yo, is there a school nearby? And we would find a school nearby. We'll reach out, see if it's cool for me to pull up, and I would randomly pull up and sit down and have a conversation, whether it was a class, whether it was a group of students, whether it was an assembly, and just have the conversation and share my story. And I would love to do that and went all around the world and did that, especially home in the Bronx and in New York. But I would do that. And the more I advanced in my career, I just really took it on in a professional way, like really map things out, like really, put a theme to it, like really, did the demonstrations and then during the pandemic, we wrote a book, The Story of Amadeus, and the beat goes on.
I was about to touch upon that right now.
Yeah, so I was going in there and doing what I was doing, and I was like, yo, I need to give them something tangible, right? Sometimes you come in those classrooms, those auditoriums, those lunchrooms, there's a lot going on. You got a handful of kids that's listening. You got a handful of kids that think they're cool, that think they're too tough and cool to listen. Then you got, people being distracted. But there are students that really are taking in what you're sharing, right? But just thinking about how the mind works. We're adults and it works like that for us, right? Where we can hear something, take it in, it can go in one ear, out the other, right? So I'm like, if we can leave them something tangible, so that once I leave this building, they go back home, they go to wherever they're going, they can take something with them, just in case they were distracted, they didn't hear everything, they don't remember what I said. They can open that book and read the story of Amadeus and how I became who I am, today. So that was the whole vision behind it. So that motivational, it sounds kind of nice. I think it's a nice
It's amazing.
little ring to it, man. But it's just me sharing my journey and pushing other people to be great, as I believe I am.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can actually obtain this book, right? I mean, if
Absolutely.
anybody is out there that
Absolutely.
that wants to read about your story, the story
Absolutely.
of Amadeus,
Yes,
and
sir.
the beat goes on,
Yes, sir.
where can they get it?
It's on the website, www.iamkingamadeus.com. Once again, iamkingamadeus.com. Christmas is coming. I originally envisioned for it to be a children's book. Starting the youngest, I would say fourth grade, because that was the age that I picked up and the grade that I picked up the drumstick. So I kind of cater to that age. But all the way to adulthood, there's a lot of adults that really love the story. And it's not like ABC 1, 2, 3. It's like a nice little challenge for the young readers. But for those that may not be into reading, like myself, to be honest, I'm a very visual person. I like movies. I like seeing things. I like YouTube. I like watching podcasts. I like hearing things. I'm not a big reader. So we wrote it for the kids and for those people that can just quickly open this book. There's pictures of myself, real pictures of my story and of my journey on each and every single page. It's like 26 pages. It's right to the point, So for everybody that's tuned in, Christmas is coming. Get it for yourself. Get it for your kids. Anybody that's inspiring in music. And it's not even about just music. You could want to be an athlete. You want to be a doctor, lawyers, all the same
A lot of
principles.
lessons that are very parallel to everything in life.
Absolutely. So again, IamKingAmadeus.com. I still sign all of the copies of the book. I got to get you a book of you and your family.
Absolutely.
I got you. But I still sign all of the copies. The books come directly from me. I'm going to the post office and mailing it. I just want it to feel as long as it can before it explodes, because I do believe that, I will have a bestseller, one day. And it's easy to do it.
How long has this book been out now?
It's been out about 2 years. Maybe 2, maybe going on 3 now. So shout out to Trina Stackhouse, Lynn Hobson, co-authors on that. Couldn't have done that without those two amazing queens. So yeah, get the book ASAP. You need that.
So I mean, you've got all these things going on. You've got the residency at Dre's.
Yes, sir.
You're going on what, 7 or 8 years?
Yeah, going on 8.
Going on 8 years.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're going to be hitting the road, I'm sure, at some point.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Trey will have new music.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. Like how do you keep it all together, though? I think that's a very important thing, especially the world is tough. It's a very tough world to live in. And it's crazy because my dad warned me about it before he passed away. And he would be like, yo, I would always question my dad. Be like, yo, he was he was a disciplinarian.
Yeah, mine too.
He was very on me about things.
Yes, sir.
And be like, yo, I'm doing this for you because I don't want you to be X, Y, and Z. So, I'm tough on you. But I would always ask him why. And he'd be like, yo, I'm building you for what's to come.
Wow.
Like, what the hell you mean what's to
Powerful.
come? I'm like,
Powerful.
10, 11, 12 years old, like, playing Nintendo, this and that,
Powerful.
not going outside.
Yeah. Powerful.
No, go outside. You're going to need your health.
Wow.
You're going to need this. You're going to need
Wow.
that. And it's crazy because, my dad was like, yo, this world's going to be really tough when you get older. When you're my age, which I am now.
Right.
Like, he's like, it's going to get tough.
It's real.
So
It's real.
how does somebody like yourself navigate through having such a busy schedule? You know what I mean? And then also dealing with the external factors of what Amadeus does. Like,
Yes.
Whether it's like things going on in the world, like, the energy, all that. Like, how do you keep it all together?
Man, it's the foundation. Rest in peace to my late great Bishop Michelle White, my pastor and bishop who's groomed me spiritually all my life. Rest in peace to my dad. My dad passed as well. King Silas Thompson. Missed them both so much. So my mom, she's here with us, superhero. My siblings, my family. It's the foundation. We've been raised right. We were raised correctly. I related so much when you shared, the words that your dad has shared with you throughout your life. And, we don't always understand those things growing up. As a kid, you like, come on, y'all really hating. I can't go outside. It's only 6 o'clock. Come on, like, come on, like street light. Come on, man.
It's
like,
true.
And now for us to be adults and to be fathers, it's like I get it. You know, I got a son that's 18 that just started college. I have a daughter that's 10 years old, and now I get it. I didn't get it back then, but now I do. So it's the foundation, and for me, it's God, man. It's God, God-fearing man, very prayerful, far from perfect. You know, people hear God and hear foundation and spirituality, and they run all over the place with that. Like, no, I'm a human being, you know, and I have plenty of moments, but that foundation is what, you know, makes me solid. From the humility to being humble to, you know, trying to be the nicest person in the world, regardless of all of these accolades, all of these credits, all of these resumes. I'm still a human being at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool, but just like God has blessed me to be able to achieve all of these great things, for me to be able to sit across from you and have this amazing conversation, I can act crazy all I want and lose it all. Just like that. Just like how you got it, you can lose it just as fast. So it's about humility and just carrying myself a certain kind of way. And I have moments. I have my moments. It's a lot. It becomes overwhelming from being in a million places at once, remaining relevant. You know, since we've been in the game so long, I've been at this for over 20, 25 plus years. Started very young, you know what I mean? I'm 42 now, and to still be on albums, to still be a producer that's sought out, you know what I'm saying? Sought after. Having a residency at Dre, still touring with Trey. I've been touring with Trey Songz for 15 years, man. And if you notice, everything that I'm saying, it's like a long time, right? So it shows loyalty.
Yep.
I'm really big on loyalty and togetherness and family.
And that's rare now.
If I'm with you, I'm with
It
you.
is very rare now to find that.
If I'm with you, I'm with you. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, man. But you know, like I said, I keep saying it, and I've been saying it throughout the interview. I have my moments because people look at us and see our level of success and think everything is gravy and think we don't have issues and we don't have problems and we don't have challenges. We do. You know,
Facts.
and once the higher you get, the higher you're elevated in life and success in your career, the more challenging it is to deal with. You know, so the only way I'm able to function, move forward, remain humble, continue to work hard is God, man. God, absolutely. And there's times when I'd be like, yo, what's going on, bro? Like, you know, we have those real, honest, raw conversations.
Yeah.
I've questioned God. I've had, like, human being. Yeah.
I always believe that if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it.
Absolutely.
I've always believed that.
Absolutely.
110%.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I've had a couple, like November was definitely a tough month.
Yeah.
Very tough month. You know, went through a lot of loss. Two of my best friends passed away.
Wow.
I would say one of my, well, I was close to both of them, you know,
Yes.
in different ways.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But, you know, I remember I had one of those raw conversations, you know, and I was like, yo, like, why is this happening right now? Why is this happening
Yeah,
right now?
especially
Why?
when you mention your dad, like our dads,
Yeah.
like that's our, like that was the first superhero. That was our first superhero. You think about it.
Yeah.
First strongest dude, the man I've ever seen. I've never seen him cry. I've never seen him. Everything was just macho, you know, and macho.
You know what, man? Dude, I felt that right there because
Yo.
that was one of my dad's favorite words.
Really,
Oh, I shit you not.
bruh.
No cap.
Yo,
Macho.
macho.
Yeah.
They
Walk around the house in a
Yo.
tank top. You know what I mean? Like, yo, all my friends were scared of like my dad growing
Yeah,
up.
man.
All of them were like, yo, hey, your dad, I ain't fucking with your dad.
Yeah,
bro.
not at all. See, I'm the oldest, and you know I have my brother. My brother was the tough one. Like he played. My father was a football player. He was an athlete. He was a ref. He just did a million different things. Very physical.
Yeah.
I was not that guy. But my brother Jason, he was that dude. He played football. He just tough. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's crazy. So just to think back to that, and you know, you shared something that resonated with me about your dad, and you know, we had a conversation prior to his passing. You know, because we had issues and we had different things we dealt with, like it's like any other family.
Of course.
And I took him out on his birthday, and we sat and ate, and he shared some things with me that was life changing, like in regards to the toughness and why, and how he grew up, and my grandfather, and just kind of like continuing the what was taught to him and how he was raised. And he's like, it's the only way I knew. It's the only thing I knew. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for me to have that conversation with him, for him to admit all of those different things was a powerful thing for me, because you think all kind of things in your head. because I'm not physical, because I'm not tough, because I'm not this warrior like you, do you still love me? Do you still look at me as, you still proud of me? And, I'm in a whole different, I'm in music. You don't do music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but that was a moment where he did share it. And he was like, yo, Amadeus is the man. Like, he would call me Amadeus. You know what I'm saying? He named me Anton, but he would call me Amadeus. And that was a beautiful thing to hear and feel because it showed the respect level that he had for Amadeus. And he was like, yo, proud of you, proud of what you become. He was looking at the book in his hand, like, wow, like looking at all of the interviews on TV and the news clips and me being
Man,
in
it's giving me
Vegas and
chills
touring
right
with
now.
Trey and working with Chris Brown and seeing the plaques on the wall. And, it was a dope moment, man. So, for those parents out there, man, push your kids early.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get it, even if you don't understand it, even if it's not your thing, even if you don't, like, if it's their love and passion, push them.
My dad wanted me to be a lawyer.
Wow.
And it was because he kept on telling me, it was like, yo, like, you're going to be a lawyer. Like, why? I said, because all you do is fucking argue with me. That's all you fucking do. All you do is argue with me. But,
Wow.
He bought me my first pair of turntables.
Wow.
In order for me to stay out of trouble, which is crazy, but it was just supposed to be a hobby.
Yeah.
It ended up taking me all around
the world, baby.
Ended up taking me to places that I never thought I'd ever be in. It ended me impacting lives and meeting people and, that I never thought I'd ever be able to do or meet. You know what I'm saying? So, like.
And how does, I know you're asking me that, but how does that feel to you when you think back to what you've done and you've accomplished? Like, have you had the moment?
I haven't yet.
Gotta do it, bro.
I'll have glimpses.
Oh, you got
But I never want to get too caught up because I feel like, I'll sit there and be like, all right, like, if I'm reflecting, the journey's been long.
It's been long, man.
And it's been fruitful. It's been amazing. It's been great. Like, but I never dwell on it too much, especially right now. For some reason, I just get this feeling like, you know what? No. We're not done yet.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay, perfect.
To do it,
and that's the beauty of this this is why this is the full convo, because we having the full convo right now.
I want to challenge you to do it because we're always thinking about what's next.
Yes,
we always got new goals, new aspirations, new records, new venues we want to play, all these ideas of things that we want to accomplish, right? And we're moving so fast. It's such a fast pace in what we do in life, in our careers, right? But to me, I feel like you have to have a moment where you just sit down and really take in what you've done. Like, I don't care how long it takes, like, just to really sit down. We're so humble. We're so cool. And I call it, everybody deserves an I'm the shit moment. Where you sit down and you look at your accolades and you look at what you've done, the places you've been. There's places you've been around the world. There's places we've been around the world that people will never see. They know their communities, they know their hoods. All they want is their communities and their hoods. And it's like, think about where you've been. Think about what your the stamps that are on your passport, the hands you shook, the pictures you've taken, the records you've played, the records you've broken, the moments that you've created at the clubs that you've played. Right? You've and I'm this is sometimes it gets spiritual. You have no idea how you could have played someone out of suicide.
There was one moment on Twitch where someone private messaged me, and I remember I was saying, or I was explaining how Twitch was getting me through the pandemic more than people thought it would. And there was a viewer that private messaged me and said, like, hey, it's been about a year and a half. We've been in the house. Like, to be honest, like, yo, like, what you guys are doing is saving lives right now, because there's a lot of people that crave that human connection, that something to do, just like, and just even just something to pass time with.
Yes, sir.
And when they mentioned it to me, I didn't downplay it, but I was like, wow, that's really heavy. That's really heavy, especially during a time where, like, I was in a decent place. Like, I had my family in one house and my dogs, and I was playing music, and, I'm a big Call of Duty nerd.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, I was okay, but there were a lot of people that weren't.
It's real. And that's based off of what you've learned and what you like that person messaged you, right? And I'm not even talking about just from a pandemic standpoint. I'm talking about when you're at Tal, when you're at Light, right, where people are coming to Vegas and coming to these clubs for moments to enjoy themselves. Like you don't know what they're dealing with back home. You don't know what they left, what they got to go back to. But in those moments, we create memories and moments for them to get away from life and things that can be burdening and making them want to throw in the towel. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I'm saying to you and why I want to challenge you. Like, you got to take this in. You got to really, we always moving, bro, but we got to sit down and think about the lives we've impacted, the stuff we've done. There's nothing normal about what we do.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
For real.
I'm really going to do that.
You got to. I won't, not got to, but I want you to. I want you to embrace yourself and love on you and pat yourself on the back and look in the mirror and be like, yo, you did that, E. For real.
I appreciate
For
that,
real.
man. Man, what a great episode.
Yeah.
What a great. I mean, I feel like that's the way that we should probably end it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
We can go on for a long time.
You just gotta.
But that was.
Yeah.
Woo! I feel goosebumps right now. It's crazy.
Wow.
All right. So what's next? What's next for Amadeus?
Closing out this year, get into the next year. I'm just here, man. And you learn that too, where you can plan all of this stuff, but it's about staying present and living in each moment. So it's about right now. It's about me and you. Whatever God has for me in the future, whatever He has for me tomorrow, whatever new records I'm going to create, whatever dope shows we're going to do at Dre's, whatever tour we got coming up with Trey, whatever students I'm gonna reach with this book, cool. But it's about staying present. And right now in this moment, I'm just happy to be here, man, and sharing this amazing conversation with you, brother. So
this conversation has been incredible.
Thank you, man.
I felt like I needed it. Like, it's a
Vice
great
versa.
way to kick off season 2.
Yes, sir.
With the one and only Amadeus.
Man.
You can catch him at Dre's, going on year number 8.
Yeah, crazy.
Good Lord, man. God is good.
Amen.
God is good.
Amen.
So, we're going to see you guys next time. Same bad time, same bad channel. Shout out to Culture Kings one
Yes,
time.
sir.
Shout out to all of our listeners all around the country. I'm sure we're going to pick up some new stations, like, from the time we recorded this till when you're watching this right now. Shout out to Phoenix, the Bay, LA, Salt Lake City, Corpus Christi, Fort Myers. I know we got a lot of family out there too. And until next time, man. All right, you know what it is. Subscribe to the video and make sure that you're following Amadeus on Instagram. All of the socials will be in the description.
Let's go.
Yay.